Hello, and welcome to Marketplace with Charles, brought to you by Art of Skincare. Art of Skincare, the company that brings the beauty out of you. Also, our second sponsor, Kuwisa Lodge, situated in the heart of Mabalingo Nature Reserve, Bilabila area. I am Charles Ngobeni. On Marketplace, we aim to empower, encourage, and equip you with the right tools that you need to move closer to you achieving your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we bring you insight from experts in different fields of business, from men and women of faith, but also from ordinary people from all walks of life. We meet a young man that is described as a man, although young, a man on a mission to educate and inspire the youth in his community. He is the founder and the CEO of the Motivational Drive, an organization that focuses on the well-being of communities in terms of financial education, life coaching, empowerment, and mental enrichment, as well as business education. 1 Samuel 14 verses 6 says, "There is no restraint to the Lord to save by many or by few." I may also add to say that there is no restraint to the Lord to help by the old or the young. There will always be the group of people that believe that advice from a well-experienced in terms of age may be irrelevant to them, and will rather settle for the people that identify with their challenges to speak into their lives. The accuracy or inaccuracy of that thinking is not an issue here, but we want to see them getting up and do something worthwhile with their lives. Many people that have come up with groundbreaking works, some of whose inventions the whole world rides on today, were young people. My guest today may very well be one of them. It's a matter of attitude. Help me welcome Lehlohonolo today at Marketplace with Charles.
Thank you so much, sir. It's such a very great honor to be invited to your show. I'm greatly honored. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to all the listeners. I hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching the show.
Lehlohonolo Thoabala.
Yes, sir.
Do you mind to introduce yourself in a few seconds? Tell us who Lehlohonolo is, where he comes from.
Wow. Okay, Lehlohonolo, as I said, my name is Lehlohonolo Thoabala. You know, I also have a nickname by Conquer. You know,
okay, a Conquer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am an inspirational speaker, but then I'm not in the business of public speaking. I'm in the business of changing lives, you know, and I'm a social entrepreneur. You know, a social entrepreneur is someone that's in business for a social cause. You know, I'll entail more in terms of what does our social entrepreneurship entail within. I'm also a voice-over artist with the SABC. Now, I am the founder and CEO of the Motivational Drive. The Motivational Drive is a social cohesion entity, social enterprise that is focused on the well-being of the economy at large from the community. You know, our mission and aim is to transform billions and billions of people across the world. We do this through various platforms, such as we host business seminars where we host successful entrepreneurs such as yourselves, you know, and other people that have made well in terms of business to come and educate our upcoming entrepreneurs, because this journey of being an entrepreneur, you need to learn from someone that's already walked the path, you know. We also host career expos, you know, to guide and mentor our young ones that are venturing into choosing careers. We also do one-on-one coachings, mentorship, financial education. So our core purpose is all about bringing relevant information to the people, because in this day and time, you know, information is way important, you know.
Yes. You're talking about financial education.
Yes.
What is financial education?
You know, financial education is very much broad, but according to the way I would prefer to explain it is, you know, the education regarding money, you know, how to handle money, you know, what to do once you've got from as little as a young age. what to do as a kid when you've got pocket money of 10 rands, how to keep money and how to make that money work for you from a young age, because it does not start with when you're old. It's some things that you need to start from a young age, from as little as pocket money. You need to teach your children as little as tithing. Those are subjects that we never learn at school. So that's the kind of education that we seek to bring to our people.
I went through your profile.
Yes, sir.
And it's quite interesting.
Wow.
Tell me about your education background.
Oh, wow. Now, for me, from a young age, my aspirations was to be in construction, in engineering. So I went to a technical high school from a young age. So I chose civil engineering. From a young age, I was always attracted to civil engineering, bridges. I was always hooked to the industry. But, as I grew up, I matriculated, and then I did not pass through that matric, and then I went through to a technical college. I did a NATED N3, doing the subjects that I failed. But along the way, my passion was still within civil engineering. But I found myself going out of the industry. I worked in the civil industry for a year. But I developed a passion for where I am now, the speaking industry, transforming lives. The best way I would describe it is from the book Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that will prevail. Because I always wanted to be in construction, but here I am today in the speaking industry. That's just where God placed me. Totally out of what I had in my own mind, a different path altogether.
So you never made up to matric?
I never made it up to matric, and that's an experience where, look, if you had known me back then, and now, we definitely wouldn't be having this conversation, Because the kind of person that I was back then, I was someone that was never mindful to life as a whole, as the way most of our youth would live, As a youngster, you don't care about anything, you're trying to be cool, growing up in the... That's why it's very much important that you surround yourself with positive people, because you are part of your environment, 90% of what's your surrounding. So I grew up just like your guys from the hood, the locations, caught up to the township lifestyle, did a lot of bad choices there and there, I was never this person. Most of the people that meet me today are very much shocked, because I was that kind of person that you thought by at this age I'd probably be maybe passed on or maybe behind bars. I did a whole lot of bad things, And then I just thank the grace of the Lord that just got me to the gentleman that I am today. I thank God we don't look like who we were in the past,
Look, if you tell me that you never passed matric, it says one thing to me, that you failed matric. And how did you handle failure?
Wow. Now, being the kind of person that I was back then, I never cared about education. I was always this kind of someone that I started entrepreneurship at a very young age. I always sold stuff. So I disregarded school, to be honest with you. So I'm that kind of person that most of the people, my peers, when they failed their matric, they were worried. I see a whole lot of situations where someone would fail and then they'll hang themselves. I was that kind of person. To me, failing or passing matric, to me, was the same thing. Because to be honest with you, I never regarded education or anything of that sort, So to me, failing matric, I didn't really feel anything at that time, Until when you grow up, you see the value of education, you appreciate education. That's where you decide to go back and restudy all over again, Because as you grow up, you see that, for you to be innovative, you need education on a certain level, because education broadens your mindset, So I'd advise every youngster that's watching the show right now that you need to take education very much seriously, because right now we've got so many entrepreneurs that the upcoming, not entrepreneurs, that look up to this entrepreneurs that would say, this so-and-so does not have education, but they've got this amount of success, But you really don't know what they had to go through. So if I were to advise any youngster, I would advise that education is very much important, as much as there are people that made it in life without it. But, if you have the opportunity to get educated, especially in this day and time, you need to take grab of education with as much as you can.
In fact, even the people who are successful, whom we claim they do not have education, my take on that is that they do not have the formal classroom education.
Yes.
But on the daily basis, outside the classroom system, they continue to educate themselves.
With the materials such as your books, the footprints of a legend, to me, that's the university of life. I never start a day without reading at least about 15 good pages, listen to 30 minutes of audio, and then I say my prayers, and then I do my push-ups. That's basically how I start my day on a day-to-day basis, because we live in a negative world. You go out, get into an elevator, the first thing that you hear people talking about is, I'm going through a divorce. The second thing, I just got retrenched. So we live in a negative environment. So immersing yourself in deep personal development, such as your books, material from other successful people, it's really great. And, thank you so much for the blessing that I met you. I didn't know you didn't know me, but you decided to bless me with your material, which is a subject that's very much close to my heart, giving, So may the good Lord bless you for that. We need more of such material, That's the kind of material that we need. We need to, just that I won't say the title of my upcoming book, but it seeks to address kids from a young age. Because I've realized that, one of my mentors has been introduced to personal development from the age of 8. And today he's my age is, I just give my age away. He's 23, he's 24, but, he's doing immensely well internationally, being over 100 places, continents around the world, but he's doing quite well. Why? Because he's been introduced to personal development from a young age. So I think such material, outside of our life orientation, HSS, where they tell us about Hitler, where they tell us about so many things, where they, HSS, it's not HSS, it's geography, where they tell us about insects. Kids in China, they'll be learning about how to assemble a watch, and then I'm learning about insects, So personal development, I think it's a subject that needs to be taught from a very young age. So such material, it's very much close to my heart. That's why when I speak, I don't only speak at corporates or business seminars. I start from a primary schools. That's why it's actually close to my heart, because the kids, they're still dreaming. If I speak to kids at a primary level and say, what's your dreams? What do you dream to become? When you grow up, they'll tell me pilot. What's your dream car? They'll tell me a Ferrari, Rolls Royce. But the moment I go to high schools, what's your dream car? If I could just get a Golf and drop it. Because the more you grow up, you begin to know the price of what it takes to own a Ferrari. And looking at your home status, like, so where you are today and where you'd aspire to be, it's either going to intimidate you, knowing the price of your dreams, or it's going to motivate you to work hard. But kids don't know that. So it's easy to feed kids what you want, and mold them in the right direction. As for grown-ups, grown-ups are most of the time defeated because, that's the truth of the matter, because they've been through so many challenges, unlike kids,
Well, viewers out there, Lehlohonolo wanted to be an engineer, and he failed. He ended up speaking all over. Let me suggest there is a passion, there is a calling. Your passion may not necessarily be your calling. Well, after the break, we'll take it from there.
Join Marketplace with Charles, 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled from Egypt to the Promised Land. Cross over the Red Sea and float on the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth with healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. Return via Egyptian pyramids of Giza and explore the rich history of the mother of civilization. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you're looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace through Israel and Egypt. For more information, call +27 11 804 7550 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.
Welcome to Marketplace with Charles. I am sitting here with Lehlohonolo Thoabala. Lehlohonolo, naturally, you are challenged with matric. will have set you to a very, very low point in your life where you could have even thought of taking your life. But you got fired up to start a motivational drive. Do you want to take me through that?
Thank you so much once again for having me on your show, and hi again to the viewers all over the world. I usually say a setback is a setup for a comeback. When you bounce a ball down, when it goes up, it goes even way harder. So most people, they want to hang themselves after failure. They want to lock themselves in a room, go through depression, because that's how school teaches us. That you can't afford to fail. But I love the entrepreneurial journey because you have to fail as much as you can, because after 9 failures, eventually comes success. So I view failure from a different perspective, from the point where every stumbling block is actually a stepping stone towards a higher mile. When God withholds you from something, rest assured, be assured that something that's coming is actually even more greater. So for my failure, I really learned a lot, took a gap year. And to any viewer that's watching, I would say to never ever take a gap year, rather seek employment or do something, but never live at home. Because in my gap year, that's where I engaged in a whole lot of bad activities. So within that's where my life got changed altogether. That's when I decided I don't want to live this kind of a life anymore through that gap year after failing, because there was a time where I saw my mom just cry after something that I had done, and she said, because I grew up in a Christian family, she said, how come, this is not the kind of person that I grew you to be. That's when I said, no, man, the life that I'm choosing, I really need to do something about it, So I really thank God for that failure, because if it wasn't for it, I don't know, maybe I would have went to college with that mindset that I still had in high school, and probably I would have, I don't know, messed up in college, So I thank God for that failure.
But failure is not failure.
Wow.
Unless you fail to learn from it.
That's true.
Once you come with some learnings out of it, then you really haven't failed. You have learned something out of that.
That's true. Sorry to cut you short. I actually read somewhere where it said failure is actually first attempt in learning, which is true, because most people miss the education that comes with failure. And my mentors, sometime we were sitting, and her daughter didn't make it for matric, and we were just sitting with the son, just talking to him, and she said something very profound. She said, when you repeat as a grade, you come out even wiser than those that did it once, because you come out with relevant information, you come out with information you'd have missed at the first round. So, which is true.
But sometimes the challenge is that we follow our passion and not necessarily our calling. In my case, for instance, my passion was just like yours in engineering.
Wow.
And I went to University of Natal to do engineering degree, and I hopelessly failed.
I love the term hopelessly.
Yes, it was hopelessly so, because they even threw me out of the university. I said, don't even come back. From University of Natal, I went to Tefluop to try BSc, which is just a pure mathematical BSc. I still failed, because that was my passion. They kicked me out. I went to Unigas, which is the mother of rehabilitation universities, and they failed to rehabilitate me. Still, I failed. I eventually went to UNISA, and I failed. That was my passion. That's what I wanted to do in life. But I realized that was not my calling. And from my failures, guess what? I went to Wits University. I sat down with a professor. I said, Professor, I need to do the Master's in Business Administration.
Wow.
And the professor said to me, you can't do a master's degree without a junior degree. That is impossible. I said, no, Professor, do you know a guinea pig? He said, yeah. I said, okay, as a professor, use me as a guinea pig to see if a well-experienced businessman without any junior degree can't make it for a master's degree. He said, it's okay. He enrolled me. Guess what? I passed my master's degree without a junior degree. 1, in flying colors. 2, in record time. Why? I was now doing my calling. We need to move to a state where your passion and your calling becomes one thing. I also realize that if you follow your calling, you'll always be a success in life. And your calling may not necessarily be your passion. I looked into Noah. He was called for an ark. Paul was called for the Gentiles. Peter was called for the Jews. Moses was called for deliverance. Ezra was called to rebuild the temple. Nehemiah was called to rebuild the walls. Abraham was called for blessings. Joseph was called to preserve prosperity. Mandela was called for freedom. Steve Jobs was called for an Apple. Bill Gates was called for Microsoft. My question to you at home, what is your calling? What is your one thing? And once you find your one thing, your calling, and align it with your purpose, you'll always be a success. Well, on that note, see you after the break.
Join Marketplace with Charles, 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled from Egypt to the Promised Land. Cross over the Red Sea and float on the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth with healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. Return via Egyptian pyramids of Giza and explore the rich history of the mother of civilization. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you're looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace through Israel and Egypt. For more information, call +27 11 804 7550 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.
Welcome back to Marketplace with Charles. I am still sitting here with a young man who is not just young, but great, the great Lehlohonolo. Lehlohonolo, you were obviously much younger when you spearheaded the sanitary campaign for girls in 2016, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
What was your mindset at that point?
You know, firstly, I must start by saying I'm greatly humbled. I'm a bit emotional right now to be called great by a legend, someone that I look up to, such as yourself. You know, thank you so much for that. It's greatly humbling. You know, I've realized that, you know, age does not really matter in terms of the issues of life, because most of the people that I look up to, they started doing whatever they're doing from a young age. I mean, when Jesus was kicked out of the temple, he was still 12, he was still a minor. You know, when we look at the people like David, when he killed Goliath, was still young. When you look at most people, even in not in the Bible, Martin Luther King was young, you know. So I looked at the point that, you know, age does not have to restrict one from chasing your goals and your God-given passion, you know. So the drive behind the sanitary towels initiative was one time when I was having a conversation with someone, and, you know, they told me what some young girls have to go through, you know, just through that cycle. And when I had the issue that they use, you know, I saw newspapers, but it didn't really move me that much, because even sometimes in the rural, people would use newspapers for tissue. But when I saw the fact that they use sand, they use a leaf and sand, it it was kind of disturbing, that I realized that, something needs to be intervened and something needs to be done. And, one of my favorite books, it says that do not withhold good from where it is within your ability to act, And, you do not have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So, as much as maybe you're a viewer at home and you're looking at yourself that you don't have the resources to make a difference, don't wait to have the resources. You can be the mediator. What I did not buy the sanitary towels myself. Actually did a poster through the organization, the Motivational Drive, and then we, Facebook. My mentor loves saying that Facebook or social media is a platform that you can use either to impress or to impact. Some people just use it just to impact, to flaws. But you can use it for such initiatives. We sent out the poster asking people that are within capability to donate. And then we started collecting, also did door-to-doors campaigns, and then we spoke to various companies, and then we identified people that are at beneficiaries, that could be beneficiaries. So it was not really from our pocket, So I was inspired by the fact of rough conditions that girls go through that cycle and they miss school.
I think I like the way that you positively use Facebook.
Wow.
Most people, they use Facebook just to pose their fake behinds.
That's true.
And their fake faces, which has got a huge makeup and they're not real.
That's true.
While some other people are using Facebook to sell themselves and make billions of dollars out of the Facebook.
That's true.
But then tell me, how do you manage to bring people together to your seminars and coaching classes? And what are the challenges that you come across as you go about doing that?
Okay. It goes back to what we were speaking of, because I believe social media these days is the most powerful marketing that entrepreneurs can use. I mean, it's for free at the end of the day. You don't need to pay for marketing platforms. And so you can use social media, and we also use local radios. When we've got an upcoming event, we'll do local radio interviews. We also use posters. We send around posters. But the best form of marketing to us has always been a word of mouth, word of mouth. Tell this one tells. This is just how it grows. And then the biggest challenge in terms of this will always be being misunderstood. I mean, for example, I'm a male. The issue of sanitary towels, it really does not affect me on a personal level. So you'd walk into a corporate, meet with the CEO or someone of influence who you'd ask donations for sanitary towels, and they'd ask you, they wouldn't look into the significance of the project or the impact it's going to do. I mean, like, you are a guy, discrimination. What do you have to do with sanitary towels? Why don't you have anything better to do?
Yeah, not even married. How do you know the sanitary towels?
Exactly. And you still meet people that say there's so many people that are doing the same thing. But, it's not about how many people are doing the same campaign. The reason that there's so many people doing the same thing is because the number is huge. Even though there's plenty of people doing the same sanitary towels initiative, we're still not even scratching the surface, because the number of people that need sanitary towels is still super greater compared to the people running these initiatives, So you'll always experience discrimination. You'll always experience setbacks, people trying to talk you out of whatever that you're doing, even though it's good.
In few seconds that we're left with, take me through your speaking engagements.
Wow.
The upcoming speaking engagements.
Okay, my upcoming speaking engagement right now, one of the one that I would say it's major is in Zambia. In September, it will be in a church in Zambia. So I speak anywhere, business seminars, church conferences, primary schools. So if you'd love to be in touch with myself, you can firstly on YouTube, because obviously you'll hear me speak from there as Lehlohonolo Thoabala, and then on my social media platforms, Instagram, Lehlohonolo_Thoabala, Facebook, Lehlohonolo, and then Conquer, and then Thoabala.
That's great. And I am Charles Ngobeni signing off on Marketplace. Well, I hope you have been inspired. You can get hold of me on www.charlesngobeni.com or on Instagram, Charles_Ngobeni. You can go on Facebook and like my page, Charles Ngobeni. But watch out. Lehlohonolo has inspired me today to start a YouTube. And very soon, you watch out the space. See you next time. same place, and God bless you.